most of y'all know me. I'm Kathie Hayden. I'm your daughter's counselor. I feel like I've been saying this for 4 years, which I have. And welcome. I cannot believe our babies are going to be seniors. I cried at senior mass this year, and they weren't even my grade. So it's exciting. They're excited. And what we are presenting today is the nuts and bolts for you, so you know what's happened already and what is coming up for you and for your daughter. What we've done already, we've done career inventories with the girls in both 9th and 10th grade to try and get them a little more focused on what they may want to do for a career, not necessarily narrowing in on one career. With some of them, it's been figuring out what they don't want to major in and then narrowing it down to a scope of careers for them. I find them now in junior year going back and referring to those profiles again. Some have even asked to retake, which I can reset anything for them to retake. They've had career day in 10th and 11th grade, which exposed them to alums. I think we've had all women in every career that field that they have been interested in. And so they've gotten to listen to what actually happens in a career. Job shadowing is 12th grade. This is a big one for them that they get very excited about. They spend 6 hours with someone who will be a mentor to them for that day. And they look through, they go through the job, they go through the day with them. Some of the doctors have even let some of the girls go through a surgery, observe a surgery. The business people have had them sit in on meetings. It's been eye-opening for the girls, and it's a great experience. In 9th and 10th grade, they took the pre-ACT, and most of the juniors have taken the ACT now. If your daughter hasn't, the June 14th date is coming up, so she can take it that day. If you're not wanting her to take it in June, I just double check in senior year to make sure that we have an ACT on every student, because that is so important. They took the PSAT, so we know how they are going to score on the SAT. Most of our girls are going to skip the SAT, however, and just stay with the ACT. There is a conversion chart on the college planning website as well as my page where you can take your ACT score and estimate what you should make on the SAT. The National College Fair will be in Baton Rouge again down at the River Center on October 1st. And this will be a chance for them to come at night and really get to talk with a lot of the college reps. The night session is a lot less crowded than during the day. During the day, they literally come from all over the southern part of the state. So we don't allow our girls to go to the day session, but we do allow them, we really encourage them to come to the night session. One thing in particular, and the juniors have been great about this, I think there were more juniors at some of the college reps than there were seniors, and in fact, when the LSU person came out, he had more juniors there. We have college reps, they love to visit our campus. We are very popular because, of course, we send all of our kids to college. So anytime that you are interested in getting information, you are more than invited to come and sit in and talk to a college rep. But it's important for your daughter as well to come and visit if she can they're allowed to get out of class. Sometimes they don't want to miss a certain class, and they'll email me or Miss Green now and say, please get information and tell the rep I'm interested, but I have a test in calculus that day. So we go ahead and just let the rep know that they are interested and that they've sent word.
Was that information? I'm sorry. Was that on the
Yes, it's on the college planning website. That was this year's. We don't have, it'll start in August, very quickly in August. We had the college planning seminar, and then one thing I've been doing with them is we've been reviewing their TOPS GPA every semester since January of their freshman year. They should be able to tell you what their TOPS GPA is. I will review it again with them in August when I go into classes, and it'll be their first 3 years GPA. It's available on the website. they can get it and put in their grades. It's in an Excel worksheet, and once they have their final grades for this semester, they can go ahead and plug those in themselves. They don't have to wait, y'all don't have to wait till August for us to do it. But it gives them a good idea of what a core GPA looks like, not only for TOPS, but for most colleges and universities. The core tends to be the same for English, for math, for science, for social studies, 2 foreign language at least, and fine arts. Tends to be the same for many of the colleges and universities. As far as the TOPS courses, you're covered with SJA graduation because we require it. And when you look at the TOPS, one thing on that, it does require the 4 social studies. And remember, theology too is accepted as their 4th social studies here. We have the Naviance system, which Gloria's going to talk a lot about, but I wanted to show you this. There are 3 tabs: the careers, the about me, and the colleges. In particular, with the colleges, you have a college map that you will see that will give you an idea of where the colleges are located and where the students, you can tell where our kids don't apply, but you can also see the various colleges and where they have been accepted to. There are several different ways to see that on this site. The thing that the girls like a lot, that I like a lot as well, is the scattergrams. What the scattergrams do is they give you an idea of who has been accepted, what the ACT score was, and this is from our school. So they can go ahead and look at where they stand in that scattergram and their ability to be accepted to a school. And as you saw, it's not just LSU. I pull up LSU because we do have so many applications. These red X's are students who have not gotten in. And when the girls pull that up and they see it, all of a sudden reality is, well, not everybody does get in. So that's one of the things that we use a lot with them, to show them where their core GPA is, where their ACT is, and this is an online program available anywhere for you when you're at home if you want to use it. All of you were sent passwords at the beginning of freshman year. So if you're going, what password, what email, email me and I will just reset your password for you and send you your password. Okay, TOPS. This is a big issue for our girls and mainly for our parents. The girls are like, oh, well, if I get it, no. Parents want the tuition. This counts for the tuition only. We say that because if you've watched the news and if you've been involved with the colleges, you've watched the student fees raise. I'm aging myself here, but when I went to LSU for grad school, we had a $25 student fee. It's now close to $1,000 a semester. So, and many parents think that everything is covered. No, you will have a fee bill with the student fee, and you will also have housing as well on top of that if your daughter is planning on living on campus. The TOPS application is the free application for federal student aid. You have to fill it out every year after you do your taxes, and they will send it to the state. You have the option of listing schools to where you want your child's profile, financial profile sent to, and you list a Louisiana public institution and it automatically goes to the TOPS office. They also have a TOPS office choice and you can list that as well. But you have to fill that out every year to be eligible for TOPS. Now, we ask all parents to fill out the FAFSA and send us confirmation senior year. We don't want all your tax information. You just get a little confirmation email. Because we've had many, many instances where girls have gone out of state for a semester and changed their mind. They still are eligible for 7 more semesters of TOPS, even though they've gone out for 1. So if they change their mind and come back in, we want you to be able to get that 2nd semester covered of their freshman year. You can't if you haven't already filed the FAFSA. Okay, and the TOPS. For the tuition coverage, it's a 2.5 in that core GPA and a 20 on the ACT. For the 3.0 core GPAs and a 23 on the ACT, you get 200 per semester or 400 a year. For a 3.0 and a 27 on the ACT, you get 800 per semester, 800 per year, 400 per semester. And that goes directly towards your daughter's fee bill. So that the extra money will be taken right off of her fee bill each semester. And now I get to turn it over to the college advisor. You hear about her all the time. This is Gloria Green. So she's going to take it from here with the LSU applications.
I am Gloria Green, and I'm the college advisor. Next year will be my 10th year here at St. Joseph's Academy. I've been doing college advising for about 16 years. I have not met with very many of your students. Kathie has brought several of them over to introduce them to me. I am so busy with the seniors all year long that I'm just now herding that class of cats out, you know, 246 of them, trying to get all of their information squared away, where they're going, what kind of scholarships they were offered, and those kinds of things. So I do begin meeting with your students as soon as school is out. I do work in the summer. I'm one of the counselors that's here, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Of course, we need to talk about LSU because half of our students go to LSU, probably 90% of our students apply to LSU. So there are several different things that you would need to remember about their ACT score and their GPA. For admission, they need a 3.0 on the core GPA. That's what Kathie mentioned, the 4 English, the 4 science, 4 social studies, 4, what did I leave out? Math. 4 math, I was a math teacher. 2 foreign language, and then foreign language credit, fine arts credit, which we're going to talk about in a minute. The least ACT and GPA you can have and get an LSU scholarship, now I'm not talking about TOPS, we already determined the qualification for TOPS, is a 28 on the ACT and a 3.0 on the core curriculum. And for that, you would get $1,500 a year for 4 years. And that's the least scholarship they have. The next level is at a 30 on the ACT. And then there are a couple of levels above that. I think the next level is a 32 and then a 33. In order to be invited to Spring Invitational, Spring Invitational is an early orientation program that actually occurs in late March or early April. You have to meet these criteria. You have to have a 3.2 academic or core GPA and a 28 on the ACT. Everybody has to go to orientation in order to enroll. Most students go to orientation in the summertime. There are, I believe, 9 orientation programs in the summer. But the high achieving students are invited to come early, which means that they are being able to choose their classes, and the only people that's actually registered for classes before them would be the athletes. So athletes, Spring Invitational, and then everybody else. So usually the classes that they want, with the professor they want, the time they want it, are available. At Spring Invitational and also at the summer orientation programs, they are allowed to take credit exams to test out of classes. We get a lot of people who have credit in foreign language and physics and chemistry. There are some math exams, although many of your students are probably in dual enrollment, and they would have that credit already, so they wouldn't take that exam. Those who are not in dual enrollment can take the exam and see if they can test out of it. English credit is by your ACT score. So many students go into LSU with credit because of these exams and how well they've done on the ACT or the dual enrollment that they've taken. Yes. For the Honors College, and many of your daughters will want to consider applying to the Honors College, 3.5 core GPA and a 30 on the ACT, and you have to take writing. The Honors College at any university, not just LSU, is a wonderful place to have a small college environment within a huge university. There's always a study area for those people. They always get priority registration for classes. There's a dorm set aside for those people in the Honors College. Our students are always worried about, well, you know, is it going to, I'm going to have to do more, I'm going to have to study more. It's more the environment of the class than the expectation of the class, where you will have a social studies class, let's say you're taking psychology, in a large lecture hall where you'll have lecture. If you were in the Honors College, you would be in a small class where you would have a discussion-based class. And really, that's the biggest difference. And what do they have here? Small classes that are discussion-based. So they are very prepared for the Honors College. And if they have any idea that, or any interest, they should apply, they can always say no at the last minute. The LSU application opens on August the 1st this year. It is kind of important when a student applies if they're planning to live on campus. Once they've applied, it takes about 6 weeks for them to start getting acceptances. According to when you're accepted, that's when you can apply for residence hall. So that's why the early application for anybody that's interested in living on campus is really kind of a must. It puts you in line for the residence halls, and of course you know girls and their residence halls. That's probably more important than the major for many of them. So I would advise them to do it as early as possible. Okay, I did mention the core curriculum for LSU is the core 4, which is for English, for math, for science, for social science, and as Kathie mentioned, one of those is our theology 2 foreign language, and then 1 additional fine arts. Fine arts credit differs from TOPS. At LSU, you can take 1 year of fine arts survey, but if you take a performance course or a visual arts course, you're supposed to, according to the written information on LSU website, take 2. Now, they haven't enforced that in how many years?
Since it's been in place.
They have not enforced that. But I am bound to tell you that it is what it says in the LSU catalog if you look it up, so that you won't freak out and say, oh, I thought it was only 1. We have not had a student since I've been here, and like I said, next year will be my 10th year, that has been denied admission because of their arts credit. But the published actual requirement says if you take art or theater or dance, those things require 2 credits. I write a lot of letters of recommendation for students in their senior year, either for a college application or for a scholarship application. For the students who are applying to, let's just say they know they're going to LSU, they've never wanted to do anything else, it does not require a letter of recommendation, but then you come on toward the middle of the year and the end of the year, and they've got a Knights of Columbus application or a Catholic Daughters or an application from your credit union or where you work or whatever. So I would say almost all, probably over 90% of our girls end up having a letter of recommendation written for them. Because I have not had the privilege of knowing them for 4 years, since I've only started working with them this year, I have to have something that will help me know them without knowing them. You know, I'm like the FBI. I'm trying to find out as much information as I possibly can from as many sources as I possibly can. One of those things is a form called a Parent Insight form. That is something that you will have to complete. It is on the website, and I'll show you where it is. Before the 2nd of September, which is the day after Labor Day. That's one of the 4 documents that the students must turn in that I use to write letters of recommendation. The second document is a former teacher list, and it's just got all their classes listed, and all they have to do is put in what teacher they had for that class. And when they need their letter of recommendation, I send out a survey to all of those teachers and ask them to comment on your daughter's participation in class, potential, how they get along with their peers, and their character. The third thing is a personal insight form, which is very similar to the parent insight form, but it's something that the student completes themselves, and it asks things like, what was your biggest challenge, what was your biggest joy, and I can't remember the other questions right now, but it's about 5 questions. Both of those forms are about 5 questions. And then, as Kathie mentioned, the resume is something that hopefully they've been keeping up with. Your resume should have on it all of your activities in school and out of school. My responsibility in writing a letter of recommendation is to give a global recommendation of your daughter's unique position here at St. Joseph's. What is the spot that she feels that nobody else feels, and in the community. So inside the school and outside the school. The teacher's responsibility is to be a lot more focused on your daughter's unique position in her class. So it's a very different kind of recommendation that's written when it's a teacher recommendation or mine. We ask them, and I know Kathie has, to put a list of colleges that they are considering, that they might be a dream college, it might be one that they think they're interested in, it might be their safety net college in Naviance, so that I can kind of have an idea when I look at your daughter's account what they're thinking. Private and selective universities admit much differently than public institutions do. There's many more parts to the application. If you look in the left-hand column, you'll see that most public institutions, including LSU, are going to require just the completion of their required courses, an ACT or SAT score, and then a certain GPA. So they're going to need a transcript, they're going to need the scores sent directly from ACT or SAT, and then they're on the transcript they'll be able to tell what the student has completed, and that's it. That's all that LSU requires. That's all that all the other public institutions in Louisiana, Louisiana Tech, ULL, UNO, Southeastern require. A lot of the other state institutions, University of Mississippi, University of Alabama, Auburn, University of Tennessee, University of Arkansas, they all require the same thing. Now, there are some selective public institutions. If you are talking about the University of Georgia or the University of North Carolina or the University of Virginia, those institutions admit more like a private institution than a public institution, and they require a lot more things. As you can see in the slide, the first thing they're going to look at is on the transcript, they're going to look and see what they call strength of curriculum. What did your daughter take compared to what is offered here at St. Joseph's? What is the GPA? They have to have the ACT or SAT. Then they're going to start looking at excuse me, the extracurricular activities in the school and out of the school, here and in the community. Volunteer things, community service is very, very important. But other things are important too. Maybe they're involved in competitive dance or competitive cheerleading, or they do all kinds of piano competitions, or you name it, just any kinds of things. We have a lot of people who do horseback riding here. Some are hunter jumpers, some are barrel racers. There's all kinds of activities that students are involved in that need to be considered when they're their applications being looked at by a college. They're going to have to write at least one essay, maybe more than one. This is the sticking point for most students because that's what slows them down. They can't decide on a topic. Once they write, they can't let it go. They want to let somebody else read it one more time. I'm not quite ready to let it go. You have to let it go. We are going to have an essay writing class during the summer. I don't have the information about it yet. We do have one every summer. And of course, we have a writing center. So there are lots of resources for a student to pick a topic, to know how to write in their own voice. This essay is like a written interview. The person that reads it has to learn something about the student that they can't see in the rest of the application. Letters of recommendation, I already mentioned that. I write the global letter, and then there will be from 1 to 3 teacher recommendations that are required depending on the school. Some schools require interviews. Of course, it's very difficult if the place is very far away, so they do Skype and FaceTime, and sometimes there are alumni interviews where a person in the community actually does the interview. The last thing I wanted to mention is demonstrated interest. A lot of colleges actually keep a scorecard for students who apply. How many times did they contact their admissions representative when the admissions representative was at St. Joseph? Did they come? When the admission representative was at the college fair, did they come? Any kind of contact that the student has with the school. The person with the cold application over here who's never communicated with the admissions office at an institution is at a disadvantage, always. So you have to keep that in mind. If you go on a visit to a college, that's another thing in your favor. Never go on a college campus without going through the admissions office to set it up. Then they have that information that you were here. Okay, so this is almost a rehashing of what I just said. Parts of a college application, the application itself. Of course, now almost everything is online. There's only 1 or 2 universities that still use a paper application. Students will either use an online application that is unique to the school, or they will apply through what's called the Common Application. Common Application is one application that you can send to almost 500 colleges and universities across the United States. You go on, you fill out the form. There are 4 topics for an essay. You put in there who your counselor is, that would be me. You put in who's going to write your letters of recommendation, and you're done. Now you can send that to, for example, if I wanted to apply to Millsap, Spring Hill, Birmingham Southern, I do that one application, I send it to those 4 places. Now, if it's another one of those colleges, it's more selective. If one of those places was Vanderbilt, it would probably have a supplement, which would require another essay probably, and then what they call a personal statement, which is why do you want to go to Vanderbilt. Of course, there's sending of the SAT and the ACT score reports. Unfortunately, there are application fees. They range from $20 to $80. They all require an official transcript. If it's a Louisiana public college, they have access to the transcript in the state transcript system, and so we don't have to actually send it anywhere else. Any private college and all of those out-of-state colleges have to have a transcript sent by us. There is a request form to do that, and I'll show you that on the website too. Those selective applications then require these other things: essays, the counselor report and recommendation, and the teacher letters of recommendation. And then there's this unfortunate thing right here that students have trouble with. And I try to let them know to begin with that deadlines are not suggestions. If you turn in your application late, it goes in the this person turned it in late pile and probably will never be looked at. So it's not like, it's a hard lesson to learn. I've had a few learn it in a difficult way, but you've got to stay up to date on the deadlines. Once they have their list of schools where they're interested in applying, they must write down, this is the application deadline, this is the scholarship deadline, this is how many recs I have to have. They have to have that information in front of them, and they have to pay attention to it because you cannot deviate from it and expect to get in. Yeah, deadlines are tough. I am going to be here during the summer. I do work in the summer. I am the only counselor that works in the summer. But I need to be here because it is a time when your daughters, and you are certainly welcome to come with your daughters, can come in. We can talk about a list. We can make a to-do list. This is what you need to do first. This is what you need to do second. When you finish those two things, come back and sometimes they're overwhelmed if I give them the whole list. So sometimes we just have to say, okay, first we got to get the essays written, or first you need to find out this information, or first you need to decide who's going to write your letters of recommendation. It just depends on the student and where they're going to apply. But if they will come and meet with me, and that begins as soon as school is out, I will be here, then we can have a list. And many students, well, probably not many in the comparison to 246, but some students are finished right after school starts, because as soon as that LSU application open and as soon as that common applications open, they could be finished, and some of them do. And some of them have the college cloud, that dark cloud that just follows them over their head for, many months, because they just can't find the time to get it done. And I'm telling you, parents, it's busy around here the fall of the senior year. It's not that when they tell you, I just have so much to do, they really do have so much to do. So anything that they can get done in the summer is way in their favor. Thank you so much for coming. I've heard so much about your wonderful daughters. Please
They're
take
the
a
best
round.
class.